morning. It's 7:03 on this Tuesday, October 15th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company. Our guest host today, Sarah Haston.
Morning, MJ. How you doing?
Doing awesome.
This is Sarah Haston filling in for Coleman Walker this beautiful Tuesday morning while he is out enjoying some fall break time. And up with me, Miss Tracy Pope, the Director of Community Relations at Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. And she brought some other guests for Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. How you doing this morning, Tracy?
Great, Sarah. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. So good to see you, too.
Well, we have some exciting stuff going on at the hospital. You know, we're here the first and third Tuesday of the month, and I brought some guests with me, so we're really excited about what they have to talk about. But, you know, we're about 75 days into our transition to Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital, and we're very excited. You know, we have some great things going on. Transition has already started. Vanderbilt has committed $15 million to spend on our hospital this first year. We're just, very excited about investment into our infrastructure, our service lines. We have already transitioned our pediatricians to Vanderbilt pediatricians that see our newborn babies. Of course, our medical staff that's on the staff currently see our newborns as well, but we have our Vanderbilt pediatricians seeing those as well. We have transitioned to Vanderbilt anesthesia and also Vanderbilt teleneurology. So those are just some of the initial transitions that we have made in this first 75 days, and we have lots more exciting things to go. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. So 70 days, that's pretty good. Now, tell us who you brought with us here. We have Miss Charlotte Busher, the Director of Behavioral Health Services.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Good. Well, we're happy to have you here. So tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I have been a resident here of Lebanon since 1996, so I'm almost a native. I have been at the hospital since then as well. My background is largely the mental health nursing aspect of nursing, which is my passion and love. And what I've dedicated most of my career to. So I have been with the Behavioral Health Services in the director capacity for most of my career at the hospital, and moved over to another position briefly, but back there now and just thrilled to be there.
Great. And then we also have Dr. Scott Wilson, the medical director. Behavior Health. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great.
Now, tell us a little about you and your role at Vanderbilt Wilson County.
I've been here, this is my fourth year now with Vanderbilt, formerly Tenova. Run the behavioral health unit where we have about 30 inpatient beds, and then I also do some outpatient services primarily around chemical dependency, substance abuse, detoxification from opioids. I've been in the Nashville area about 10 years now at a couple different hospitals providing mental health services. And then prior to that, I was in the Air Force for about 8 years, worked with active duty soldiers dealing with military-related mood disorders, post-traumatic stress, substance abuse, etc.
Wow, that can be intense.
Yeah.
Now, with mental health, it seems like that topic comes up quite a bit today, not just locally, but nationally as well.
Absolutely. I think with social media and media attention in general, it's become the hot topic. Fortunately, to have probably a lot of other areas of medicine under a better grasp now, so this is really the frontier for this generation. I mean, as we deal with more and more public awareness with suicide, a lot of these mass shootings, and now, of course, the opioid crisis that's really taken the country by storm. They're finally at a point where they're putting a lot more energy and resources into finding adequate treatment for some of these big issues.
Now, how to just the general community, would one understand the size of your program? Like when you drive by the hospital, you can see the big hospital, but you don't really know what's in it. How would we know what the size of that program is?
So as Dr. Wilson mentioned, we have 30 beds, 2 units. We do have a third unit that we're hoping to put back in service next year. as part of our plans with Vanderbilt. So our license capacity is actually 49. We have two separate units there, divided based on what the patient needs are. One of those units is based on patients who have what we would call psychotic disorders, thought disorders, patients who are acutely ill, having hallucinations, delusions, those kind of things. And then we have another unit that is dedicated to more of our mood anxiety disorders and co-occurring disorders with substance use, in addition to the mental illness diagnosis. So, and that's on our McFarland campus, which everybody in the community knows is our old community hospital. We're very proud to be there in that location and serving the community from there.
Yeah, I think not even everyone realizes how much is going on over at that campus still.
Yes, we're very active and vibrant campus. Of course, our acute rehab unit is also there, physical rehab, and we have the Cumberland nursing students on that campus. So we're just busy little campus there.
And I think the plan is to stay right, and hopefully more resources will continue to pour into there and maybe expand even further. So
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's great.
Right.
What a great community partnership, too, between
Yes.
the hospital and Cumberland University. That's awesome.
Correct.
Now, Dr. Scott Wilson, you had mentioned the substance abuse and the opiates. Could we talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, I think at this point, certainly in our community and probably across the country now, most people have had their lives touched by substance abuse issues and certainly opioids. I mean, this is something that's really evolved significantly over the past decade. We're seeing the fallout across the country too, as a lot of the lead players in the pharmaceutical industry are being taken down even on a criminal level. So something that essentially took off 10, 20 years ago when perhaps there was limited understanding of the challenges that were to come with these widespread use of the opioid medications, also known as basically as pain pills, narcotics, family of oxycodone, Lortab, Percocet, OxyContin, some of those familiar names. At the time, people were given these long-term prescriptions with often limited modification or any ongoing evaluation, and even people with no prior history were quickly becoming physically dependent and then often begin engaging in other high-risk addictive behaviors to fuel the habit. And now we're seeing sort of the fallout of it at this point where we recognize what a problem it is, but unfortunately still have somewhat limited solutions. So yes, Tennessee and most states have taken action to limit the prescription of these medications, and hopefully that will improve the problem for the next generation. But now we also have a generation of people that are sort of stuck with this disease, this illness, and unfortunately still some limited options for adequate treatment.
So that fallout that you're talking about, is that what is the when they use that word crisis? Is that?
Yeah, I think that would encapsulate the crisis where people who before, even though they may have had some functional impairment and dependence, they were still going to the many pain clinics or their primary providers and getting these long-term prescription for opioids. Now that this is dried up or something's happened to throw that off with the increased limitations there, they're turning to street sources. Heroin has made a big comeback. Of course, the hot topic now is fentanyl, which is the highly potent and deadly synthetic opioid that is resulting in the majority of the overdoses in cases now. So.
And we talked a little bit this morning, and you had mentioned that that fentanyl is, people don't know that they're buying that.
Yes, and even here in Wilson County, been fortunate to have involvement with Wilco's opioid task force, and we have participation from local police as well as other county officials, and so we get information on just a lot of their drug busts as well as some of the overdoses. And then even on a clinical level, I see many of my patients who come in disclosing that they've had a relapse on, say, heroin, or they've they've even taken some Klonopin or something in a different family, and when we get the results back, it has fentanyl in it. So it just shows that I guess the suppliers higher up the food chain are obviously not being very forthcoming, as you might expect, with what's in their drugs. And, everybody is just at such an increased risk. It's not uncommon to, even in Wilson County, to have potentially an overdose a week still at this point.
All right. Well, thank you. We sure appreciate that, Dr. Scott Wilson. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break with MJ for a minute.
It's a new day at Lebanon Health and Rehabilitation. Lebanon Health and Rehabilitation has experienced new leadership, a new atmosphere at the same location in the heart of Lebanon. Located at 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus, Lebanon Health and Rehabilitation is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. It's a new day at Lebanon Health Care and Rehabilitation.
Now you can get a great-looking cut in less time every time with an Exmark. The Mowers Landscape Pros trust 2-to-1 over the next best-selling brand of mowers. Right now, step up to Exmark with their newly redesigned Quest Zero-Turn Riders, the Exmark Radius, or go pro with the Exmark Laser Z, the most respected zero-turn mower in the business. Check them out today at Absolute Kubota, 1325 West Main Street in Lebanon. Exmark, ready to work for you.
Hi, everybody. It's Tommy Bryan. Tune in on Saturdays throughout the fall as Cumberland University's Phoenix takes on the very best in small college football. The Phoenix will host the University of the Cumberland Saturday, October 19th. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. Join me and Bob Lee Saturdays during the college football season right here on WANT and WCOR.
We're back. This is Sarah Haston filling in for Coleman Walker while he is out for fall break on this Tuesday morning. And we have our guests here, Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital, with Tracy Pope, the Director of Community Relations, and Miss Charlotte Busher and Dr. Scott Wilson. Now, Charlotte, we were talking a little bit earlier about the details of the opioids and the addictions. And how is your role different than Dr. Scott's?
Well, I'm responsible for the programming at the hospital for our patients with the mental health illnesses and diagnosis. So that's oversight of, what kind of therapies we offer, the staff members who are involved in treating those patients, nurses, therapists, and others. So that falls under my responsibility. Dr. Wilson and I work very closely together to make sure that we're providing really good quality and meeting the needs of our patient population. We had talked a little bit about how do people get help with some of these problems and mental illness, or how do their families reach out. And we have staff on board that are in our intake area, and they're the people that answer the phone when people are reaching out for help. So anyone, any of the listeners today, anyone in the community can call the hospital directly and ask to speak with someone in the mental health services area. And we have someone there that can talk with them and try to guide them and direct them as to what's the next steps.
Now, typically, the people who reach out are those family members of those who are affected?
Frequently it is with this particular issue when we're referring to the opioid or mental health issues. Sometimes patients themselves will reach out. A lot of times we see those individuals in our emergency department where that's their first contact. Either they've been brought in by law enforcement or maybe brought in by family members, or just, seeking help themselves, and they'll present at our emergency department. And they're seen there, and they're medically evaluated, cleared of any kind of acute medical condition like heart problems or something like that, big infections. And then they reach out to us in the mental health department to help make the plans for the next steps.
And this isn't age restrictive either. This can happen at any age where someone is struggling with mental health.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Our service line is focused on the adult population, so those individuals 18 and over. children's services are kind of rare in the state itself, and the primary places are located in Nashville who work with the children's population, but 18 and over is our focus.
18 and over. Now, how is that when we go back to the opiates and the addictions? And you talked a little bit about Wilco drug. What was it called?
Wilco's Drug Task Force. So the local community has a board and group of individuals who are really focused on helping to address the opioid crisis and just kind of the bigger picture of drug issues, particularly in Wilson County. So they have representation from law enforcement, from members of healthcare, as well as some other political people in the area.
So that's a good way to kind of, as a community, to even start the conversations and talk about this and really try to understand how something on a national level is impacting us as a community here in Wilson County. Now, I know that just in day to day, we hear about it quite a bit where people are talking about crisis and really just trying to understand what it is as a citizen and how it can affect us. So someone who's not in the medical profession, how would we go to understand more about what is going on with this opiate crisis here in Wilson County?
Well, I think that speaks to the bigger picture of mental health and certainly the escalating issue with the opioids, drug addiction, now methamphetamine being on the rise, as well as stigma has historically been a huge barrier for seeking out mental health and substance abuse services. It's improved in the past 10 to 20 years, especially with just more awareness through television, even people in the entertainment industry who've come forward with some of their struggles, but particularly locally, some of the smaller communities, they really struggle to increase the awareness of mental health substance abuse treatment options, to reduce that stigma. So that often we're stuck seeing people who have progressed to the point that they're having some serious problems or consequences from their use, hence often being brought in for treatment by a third party, whether it's law enforcement and things like that. So the more we can normalize that this is now kind of a part of society. Most people didn't necessarily start these prescriptions, thinking that something like this was going to happen, but we want to, work with them to catch it early and to get it treated early before some of these consequences develop.
How do we do that? How do we continue to have these conversations and remove that stigma with both mental health and with addiction?
Well, I'd like to mention a couple of things just in terms of what we're talking about here locally in the community. Wilco, I think, was a product of a local mother who lost her son to an overdose, and I think approached the mayor's offices, county mayor's office, some other folks to kind of band together to start that. So that's been kind of a grassroots local organization to help promote that, also including the school systems for education purposes in the school systems. Different community events like that have been sponsored between Cumberland University and the Wilson County Health Council that focused on suicide, called Never Alone during Suicide Prevention Month. There are opportunities and community organizations. NAMI, the National Association for the Mentally Ill, now has a chapter in Mount Juliet, and that's they're based on as a result of family members who come together and try to promote awareness and resources for treating these disorders. So there are things out there, to help us learn more. And I think some of the funding is beginning to come in to help support services and treatment for not only addictions, but mental illness and co-occurring problems.
And what courage that must take as a mother and as a family to speak out after you've you've dealt with that as a family, to talk about what has happened to your child and to bring that awareness. That must be extremely difficult. Yeah. Now, as the medical director for Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital Behavioral Health, how do you treat patients here with an opiate addiction?
Well, there's several options. We often will see patients at the hospital who are presenting in crisis themselves. The use has escalated to a point where they may have social consequences, housing issues, homelessness, significant issues with family, finances, etc. And they're really at a state of emotional crisis, even to the point of being suicidal. So we often admit them inpatient to stabilize their mental health component, as well as detoxify them from the opioids. We have medications we can use to actually help ease the process, both inpatient and outpatient. Then we evaluate based on each individual's needs and resources. Some may be more appropriate for the longer-term residential treatment, traditionally known as like the rehab programs, 28-day programs. Those are often focused on abstinence, but not necessarily. And then one of the, I guess, more well-known, as semi-controversial treatment options is the buprenorphine, which is also known as Suboxone, Subutex, that family of medications, which is becoming more and more popular, both inpatient but also on an outpatient basis, where individuals are actually able to come to a clinic like you would your primary care provider, recognize that their dependence and addiction has become an issue, and potentially be placed on a medication such as this with the goal to either have more extended maintenance, where they're not having the addictive behaviors associated with the compulsive seeking and use of the other opioids, or potentially detox over an adequate amount of time and hopefully be clean from opioids thereafter.
And we have both those options here in
Yes.
Wilson County.
Yes.
And that's when someone would reach out to you, Charlotte. And
Sure. Calling the hospital and speaking to one of us in the behavioral health program.
and what about successes? Do we have data yet on how these programs have affected the community?
I think that's still limited, and I think that's some of the confusion, controversy over all the treatments now. Is, we have all this money that's being spent on substance abuse services, but the numbers are still going in the wrong direction. So it raises a lot of concern, reasonably so. I mean, we've seen more money spent in the past 5-10 years on mental health and substance abuse services than ever in history. I mean, it's going up exponentially, but our results are still trending in the wrong direction, albeit suicides, overdoses, etc. So I think as we start tracking the data a little better, it may give us a little better understanding of what we need to do to tweak the available treatments to make them more appropriate for this population. Because often we've used just the historical 12-step options that have been available for alcohol dependence and things like that, and tried to have them fit what essentially is a different illness. So.
Right. But at the same time, if you have a growing number of users, it'd be hard to track that success rate as well. Yeah. Now, with an opiate addiction, how does that impact a person's brain?
Well, the primary function that we're running into is it works on the dopamine activity in the brain, which is sort of our pleasure and reward center. So people, particularly those who are prone to the dependency, just have a particular, likely genetic vulnerability where when they're exposed to that, they have a really prominent response. The response I get from most people who have developed the dependency is that when they first took it, they felt euphoric. They felt like they could do anything. They could work, overcome whatever physical limitations they were having when they took it. And then with the nature of the opioids, you become tolerant to the effects very quickly. Even within 5 to 7 days, you're at the point where your body is now going to need more and more. And if you stop, even after a 5 to 7 day course, you're going to have some physiological withdrawal, which they didn't really realize several years ago. So that's even being advertised on television now, just how quickly it can develop. So the drive to get that back becomes greater and greater. The use becomes greater and greater. The expense and the things you'll do to achieve that becomes greater and greater, so, hence some of the consequences. And then after long-term use, I mean, there's some serious dysregulation of that reward and pleasure center in the brain. So there's often the fallout of increasing depression, anxiety issues, the functional impairment. So it's creating a tremendous amount of disability in our society now. There is recovery from it. The brain's more resilient than probably thought a generation ago, but we do have to get people stable and off these and allow adequate time for some of the healing and the neurotransmitters to get back to their previous baseline.
Great. Well, as we wrap up today, all those who are listening, how can we help? How can we out there in the community help with this?
Encourage loved ones to seek help, for one thing, because recovery is possible. There is hope, and a lot of times the hopelessness prevents people themselves from reaching out and also their family members. So ask for help, call the hospital, call someone else that you trust, your physician, primary care physician. Resist that temptation if you've been prescribed an opioid to continue it for more than a very brief short period of time, which is what it's intended for. And, just above all, have hope and reach out.
Well, great. Well, we sure appreciate you being here today. Tracy Pope with Director of Community Relations, and Miss Charlotte Boucher and Dr. Scott Wilson with Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. And again, this is Sarah Haston filling in for Coleman Walker. Thank you.
Welcome to Hearthside Senior Living, Lebanon's unique senior living community designed for seniors to age in place, all within a safe, comfortable, and Christian environment. Beautiful retirement homes designed for an independent lifestyle with maintenance-free living. Hearthside Senior Living also continues the excellent tradition of assisted living for those seniors who need additional services. Hearthside Senior Living, an independent retirement community and assisted living community, all on one campus in the heart of Lebanon. Call 615-443-1994 for a tour.
71 degrees all the way.
73 degrees, please.
So what's your perfect degree of comfort? We'll help you find it with professional Rheem HVAC service that'll keep your home comfy year-round, save on energy costs, and may qualify for utility rebates and tax credits. So enjoy a new degree of comfort.
72 degrees, and I'm good to go.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Hi, everybody. Tommy Bryant. Join me every Friday at 6:30. Lebanon High Football takes on some of the very best competition, brought to you by Absolute Kubota, D.T. McCall & Sons, K. Maynard State Farm Insurance, Bakes and Hooker, Lebanon Police Chief Mike Justice, Wilson County Sheriff Robert Bryan, Wilson Bank and Trust, Dickey's Barbecue Pit, and A.G. & Johnson Realty and Auction. Lebanon entertains Stewart's Creek, Friday, October 18th.
Vanderbilt Health is honored to announce the newest addition to our family of hospitals, Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital in Lebanon. This hospital will provide care for Wilson County residents with the goal of improving the health and well-being of our newest community. Hospitals are for healing, new life, and recovery. They're places of innovation and learning. At the end of the day, hospitals are all about one thing: community. Thank you for welcoming us into yours. Let's do great things together.
Cloudy skies will win out for your Tuesday. With those clouds comes the chance for a few scattered showers and storms as we head through this afternoon. Highs will climb into the mid-70s. If you're going to be out and about this evening, we'll see that chance for storms stay with us after the sun goes down. Lows will bottom out in the mid-50s. That's your forecast. I'm meteorologist Nisa Lomax.
Good morning. Welcome back. Sarah Haston here, filling in for Coleman Walker while he is out on fall break. And our second half of our segment today is brought to us by Hearthside Senior Living. And we have Miss Betty here to talk to us today. Good morning, Betty.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. I like these crisp days.
Fall is here, isn't it?
Finally.
Oh, it was a beautiful morning. I'm so excited about it. So, Betty, what's going on at Hearthside Senior Living?
Well, we are currently full all over the place. So we're full at the assisted living, full at the independent living, and things are going real well. We are going to be having a special dedication. We had a trail, I guess you saw it built, and it's behind the assisted living for our seniors to be able to walk through.
Okay,
kind of a
trails and
nature
walking trail. Awesome.
Yes,
That
it's
sounds
wonderful. And we'll be doing that ribbon cutting and dedication on Wednesday, October 23rd at 11 o'clock. And we will be serving lunch. But, and there's, some special people that we're going to be having there as guests. And and I can't really reveal who that'll be.
Special guest. I love it. Now, can anyone in the community come to this?
I believe they sent out specific invitations.
Okay.
And,
so make sure they RSVP.
Yes, absolutely. Other than that, this is Country Music Month all over the United States. So we had a special guest yesterday. We had the 3M Boys, a band from here in the area, and then we had a special guest, Minnie Pearl.
Wow.
Well,
awesome.
She actually, she's a senior that comes with a group that sings every month. They're the Mount Juliet singers, Over the Hill singers. And she kind of does a little skit as Minnie Pearl. So she dresses up with the hat and the dress and the whole thing. And it was wonderful.
That
she made
fun.
Everybody happy.
I bet they loved that.
Yeah, and so her name is Catherine McCrary, and she is outstanding. So we've got a lot of things going on around there.
That sounds like a lot. So now, what do you do over there? You said you're the
activity director. So I make sure everybody stays busy and has a good time.
So you're responsible for planning those events?
Yes.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I bet this is a busy time of year for you.
It is. Very busy. We have trick-or-treaters that come with McLean Academy. So 30 of their children come over and dress in their costumes, and we have a little costume parade, and the residents love it. And we pass out candy, and it's just a fun time for everybody.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And now with Hearthside, you have independent living and you have assisted living,
yes.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
How many, and you said you're full.
We're full.
Full, and you just built some new ones, right?
Right. They're actually, duplexes, but there's 15 buildings, but there's 30 units.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah.
And what would you want us to know about Hearthside? Tell us something great.
Well, it's a great community to live in. It's a combination community, so you can live in the independent living, and then if you get to where you really feel like you can't live by yourself anymore, you can transition up to the assisted living.
Great.
I guess you could say they have first choice. If we have any openings, they can just transition up. So it's a really nice thing. And they work together. They do a lot of things together. And when I do my activities, they'll come up and join in. Some of them actually volunteer for me also. And it's really nice.
That is nice because seniors, they don't want to move anymore once they're in place.
Definitely.
So that's really nice. And it sounds like you always have something fun for them to do.
Oh, yeah. All the time. And with the holidays coming up, like with Christmas coming up, it stays busy a whole month.
That's good. Good. Well, and I understand you also have the Hearthside Hello that you do at the end of the segment.
Yes, I do. That's kind of a tradition that we've had, over the years. So I would like to say a Hearthside hello to a lady that is actually a resident. Her name is Opal Midget. And she recently celebrated a birthday.
Oh.
So, yeah. So
well, happy birthday, good. Opal.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you,
Miss so
Betty. We sure appreciate you being here with Hearthside Senior Living. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
You have a good day.
You too. And now we've got Mr. Scott Benson here with the Superintendent, Director of Schools of Lebanon Special School District. How you doing this morning, Scott?
Hey, Sarah, doing well. Glad to be here. Good to see you here.
Good to see you too. Yeah, this is my first time filling in for Coleman. but
Okay,
I'm
well, not too
excited
bad for
about
your
it.
first time. I was listening to you on the radio on the way in.
So one could say I'm a natural, right?
That's right, maybe so. Yeah, and even MJ was talking about you back here, doing a great job filling in. So good.
Well, I'm trying. It's big shoes to fill for sure. So what do you have going on this morning?
Hey, it's fall break. Have you heard?
I have heard. Crazy enough, I've got two of them who are really enjoying that 2 weeks of fall break.
Yeah, so it's fall break. I've taken a few vacation days myself, so this is my first day back. I worked last Thursday, and then today's my first day back from that because I was off all week besides Thursday and then yesterday as well. So I've got lots of things planned for myself this week in the office. Going to push a lot of paper and get some things done that you can't normally do, during the school year. But
Right.
It was nice to take a few days off and get away. Got out of town a couple of times, so that was nice.
That is good.
Yeah.
That is good.
Did y'all have an opportunity to do that?
We did not leave. No.
Okay.
We had some visitors come to town.
Gotcha.
My mom came recently and
Okay,
visited.
good.
And so we just showed them around Nashville and things like that.
Lots to show.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. Yeah, good deal.
So now, what do we want to talk about today? I know there's so much going on in the Lebanon Special School District, from new schools being built to exemplary awards.
Yeah, lots going on in the school district, and you started to ask me that off the air. We were coming back on. I heard the commercial and didn't really get a chance to answer you, but I always bring the most recent board agenda to talk about the board meeting, and then post it or two with some things jotted down just to keep us going. So I got several things to talk about, and you mentioned the new elementary school. Let's start there if you want to.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So Jones Brummett Elementary School, we have broken ground. If you have driven by the intersection there at Hartman Drive and Coles Fair Pike, you can see that. I actually drove by this morning on the way in just to check it out, and we are making our presence known there and moving lots of dirt, and it's starting to come together as far as the clearing of the land and the prepping of the land for the building. So we're excited about that. I'll make you aware, Sarah, and everybody else, let you know as well that we're going to have our official groundbreaking for the school next week. It's going to be Wednesday, October 23rd at 4 o'clock. So we would invite anybody that wants to participate in that to come out and join in the official groundbreaking. It'll be a very simple, brief ceremony, but we'll nonetheless mark the official groundbreaking of our new school.
Yeah, that's exciting. It is moving right along. When you do drive by, it's always exciting in my world to see that dirt moving.
That's right. That's
and
right.
I love it. So.
Yeah. It's an exciting time. I told somebody the other day that I'm probably going to have to keep myself from driving over there every single day. But the good thing about it is it's really close to the office, so I don't have to go far out of the way to drive by to check on the progress.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So speaking of the new elementary school, we approved the bid packages for that at our last board meeting. And speaking of, we do not traditionally meet in October as a board just because of fall break. So we have not had a meeting since September 16th. And I haven't been on the radio since then. We had moved that date as well because of the superintendent conference in September. So that was later than typical for us. So I haven't talked about the board agenda on the air, but we approved those bid packages for Jones Brummett Elementary School. And Sarah, you know this, being in economic development and the growth in Middle Tennessee, the greater Nashville area, the construction cost, and that's a hot topic across the state with superintendents talking about building new schools. And
absolutely.
And it came in higher than we wanted it to, but we got to build a school, and that's what it costs to build a school today in Lebanon, Tennessee. And so we approved those bid packages. And Sarah, just the construction part of the project, that would be minus our architectural fees and construction manager and technology and those type things, came in right at $28 million. And so that is unbelievable to think about that. And I was asked this recently and talked about this a lot. Our last new school was Winfrey Bryant Middle. And we completed that. We built that in 2010, 2011.
Okay.
And Winfrey Bryant Middle is actually going to be a little bit larger than Jones Brummett Elementary. We built that school for $16 million.
Yeah.
If you can put that in perspective, how much construction costs have gone up since then.
I believe it. I hear that every day on every level, and especially in this area.
That's right.
And I think that if we pushed it out 5 years, it would be even higher than it would be.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's going to get more. The cost will get more before it gets less again, and it goes down. From what I hear in my world.
Yeah.
And we're experiencing that all over as a community, not just with our schools, but with fire halls and police stations and just things that a community needs to have to sustain itself as it continues to grow and develop.
Yep. One of the negatives, I guess, of growth.
It is.
And being in this area. There's so many positives about being in this area, but it sure costs a lot to build.
Yeah, it's just realistic. It is what it is, and numbers are numbers. And but, you have to do it right.
Yep, that's right. Absolutely.
Yep. Well, that's great. I know it's exciting for you to have a new school.
It is, yeah. That's exciting to go through the process and the growth of our community, and naming the new school was exciting, and now we're gonna the next step, I guess, the next major thing other than construction, we'll pick school colors and a mascot and that sort of thing.
Yeah, didn't you have a contest for that? Wasn't there?
No, we had that for the name of the school.
Okay.
Yeah, we had all of our schools participate in different ways involving the students with naming the new school. We had an online platform where we had just over 300 recommendations for that. And then so we had a committee that we formed from there, and we looked at all of the recommendations and settled on the name. But we haven't done that with the mascot and the school colors. We'll do that involving less people, I guess. We won't go online and do that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, it is always exciting when you have participation. Well, we're going to take a short break and pass it over to MJ. We've got Scott Benson with Lebanon Special School District, and I'm Sarah Haston filling in for Coleman Walker.
It's all about taking care of you, and THW Insurance will do just that. Are you looking for home or auto insurance? THW, a Trilogy agency, represents Westfield Insurance and other fine companies. Together, they will protect you and your family. Call Joe Bumgartle at the Donaldson location at 615-232-5928. That's 615-232-5928. Or stop in and see him at 217 Donaldson Pike in Nashville.
If you're a fan of Wilson County High School football, make sure to tune in to the Fakes and Hooker Scoreboard Show every Friday after the Lebanon High football game right here on WANT 98.9. Hi, I'm John Boyce. Trent Perry and myself will have all the mid-state scores as well as interviews from each coach within the county. The Scoreboard Show is brought to you by Designers Carpet, Fakes and Hooker, Lebanon Appliance, Mitchie's Landscape and Design, Palometto's Insurance, Kenny Salas and Justin Davis with Blackwell Realty, and Sammy Bees. The Fakes and Hooker Scoreboard Show every Friday night.
Head coach Mike Vrabel's in year number 2 with talent on defense.
It's intercepted. Kevin Meyer, Jarrell Casey, Chris John, and Landry with the sack.
Join us right here with the voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, and Coach Dave McGinnis.
Brought to you by Absolute Kubota Exmart, Bates Ford, Fakes and Hooker, Steve Moore Plumbing, and the Jewelers.
This is Wilson County's home for real country music and the Tennessee Titans. Real Country 98.9.
Good morning, Sarah Haston here on this beautiful Tuesday, filling in for Coleman Walker with Mr. Scott Benson here from Lebanon Special School District. Enjoying some nice conversation together.
Yeah, good to be here, Sarah.
I'm glad to have you. Now, you come often, though, right? And talk us through your agenda.
Okay, yeah, I'll hit a few more items on the agenda. Sarah, I don't always give a lot of detail on some of the business items. I don't want to bore your listeners this morning.
Absolutely
I
understand.
want to keep those ratings up. But yeah, just a couple other items that I'll mention. We got some roof work that we need to do across the district. And again, we were talking about the new elementary school and construction and that sort of thing. But we've got to maintain our existing buildings. And so we've got some roof work that we needed to have approved, both at Coles Ferry and Walter J. So we're going to be working on that throughout the year. And actually, most of that work will probably be done in the summer. But we need to get that lined up. We're going to purchase a new bus. Sarah, we've got, as continued growth, we've talked about that a little bit. We're going to need new routes and those type things. So we normally have to work about a year ahead to order that bus and go through the bid process and to get what we want there. So going to purchase a new bus. We updated a few policies. I won't bore you with those, but 3 or 4 or 5 policies that were TSBA recommendations for us.
Now, what's TSBA?
Yeah, TSBA is the Tennessee School Boards Association, which we are a member of, and we contract with them for our school board policies. And so they keep up with the latest legislation and laws and those type things, and make recommendations to us on our policies and how to keep those up to date. And so we normally
like a third party that just overwatch.
That's correct. Yeah, but the School Board Association, I would assume probably every school district, every school board in the state of Tennessee is a member, and they keep up with the continuing education and lobby on behalf of the Tennessee School Boards Association down at the legislature as well. And so that's the organization of school board members across Tennessee. So we updated a few of our policies. I gave a few updates on my director's report to the board as well. We talked about Jonesboro Elementary. I gave updates to the board at that time. Hey, one thing that I mentioned as well at our previous meeting, we're in the process of updating 3 of our 6 existing school signs out front. We're working with Wilson Bank and Trust, and Wilson Bank and Trust is a great supporter of education, and they have sponsored all of our previous school signs, all of our existing school signs, but it's time to start upgrading those, and we're going to go electronic this time.
Wow.
So we're only able to do 3 at this point. We'll bring the other 3 in a little bit down the road.
Have you decided which 3 yet?
We have. Those principals are very excited.
I bet they are.
They don't have to send folks out with those letters anymore.
Yeah.
You know? So they'll be coming on board here really soon, hopefully the next couple of months. But the 3 schools that'll be getting upgraded signs are Winfrey Bryant Middle, Walter J. Baird Middle, and Coles Ferry Elementary.
Awesome.
So excited about that. And like I said, the other 3 will be coming along not long after that, but we're only able to do those 3 at this point. And appreciate Wilson Bank and Trust and their continued support of the school district. Gave an enrollment update, Sarah, to the board as well. We're right around 4,000 students, and we keep flirting with that number, although we haven't surpassed that number yet. And our population is very transient, and so our numbers change daily. And actually, the week before the school board meeting on September 16th, we were at 3,994. So getting real close to that 4,000 mark. But on the day that we had the board meeting, we were down to 3,986. So so we're going to surpass that 4,000 mark here soon. I keep talking about that. That's just a milestone that we're keeping an eye on. But we're just watching our enrollment there. So we had a couple other updates, one from Becky Kegley, Assistant Director of Schools for our school district, and sort of touching on your previous topic. She was talking about behavior supports and what we're doing as a school district with social, emotional, mental health issues, which is really prevalent now in school districts, and that's a hot topic when you get school folks together and they're talking. But we had a teaching and learning update as well from our Director of Teaching and Learning, Pam Sampson, as well. So that pretty much sums up our board meeting and what we did there. I did bring a few other things, if you'd allow me to
absolutely.
mention. So I'll make everyone aware of this. Richard Anderson has been our operations director for several years, and that includes transportation. And he's going to retire. He's going to retire at the end of this month. And he's been in education for 30 years. And a lot of people know Coach Anderson around town. He's worked in Smith County and Wilson County and with us most recently as director of operations. He was actually the very first football coach at Wilson Central High School when they opened up, and used to coach at Lebanon back in the day too. And so a lot of people know Coach Anderson, and so he's going to retire and go to the farm here at the end of this month. And so we're excited for him and wish him well in his next endeavor there, and excited to name our new director of transportation as well. We made this public within the district right before fall break, and so I'll announce it here on the air for the first time. Jeff Ashley. I don't know if you know Jeff or not, but Jeff, longtime educator and a former coach as well in Wilson County, and he's been in our district for several years as the director of our alternative school. And we knew that Jeff had leadership capabilities and was waiting on just the right time to step into another position of leadership. And so we're going to congratulate Jeff Ashley. And he's already made that transition, working with Richard over the last several weeks before fall break. And he will officially take over as Director of Transportation in the district on November 1st. So
that's great. Well, congratulations, Jeff. Yeah, I do know him. He's a great guy, great family. My daughter Addison and his daughter Charlie are really good friends.
Oh yeah, from Sam Houston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we'll mention Miss Ashley as well.
Yes,
who
love Miss
teaches
Ashley.
at Sam Houston. Y'all
Can't
had her as a
imagine
teacher?
it without her. Yep, she's great. Both of my daughters had her in second grade. And she is their cheer coach too. They
Very
both
good.
both did cheer.
Yeah.
Addison's still doing it. Of course, Charlie's moved on to Walter J.
Yep.
And doing volleyball there, and she loves it. So
Yeah, I've had a chance to see the volleyball team a time or two, and I think I saw you there.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, as a supportive parent.
Yep,
there.
I support, and then I got to be the line judge a couple times.
How was that? Did you get yelled at?
No, I didn't want to be on the side by the bleachers. I said, let me have this side so I don't get heckled. So, but I did okay. I did better than I anticipated. So
that's good. And I not control, but do the district Twitter account as well. So I retweet all the tweets from our schools and all of our schools tweet, some more than others. But through that, know that as well that you're a very supportive mom at Walter J.
Yes.
on the moms of Walter
the
J.
moms of Walter J. Yes,
Yeah.
I love it. I was asked by the principal to participate in that, and it has been a great experience. And I love that idea of bringing the parents in.
Absolutely.
Just to bounce ideas off each other and to support the teachers as much as we can. And I even got to help last month with the snack baskets for the teachers and work the concession stand for their True Blue days. And it's fun. I've really enjoyed it.
That's excellent. We love that parental support and appreciate you and your friends doing that at Walter J. and all our schools as well. We've got very supportive
great
parents.
group of ladies. Yeah.
But because Walter J. tweets so much, I get to see a lot of that that I wouldn't know
Ms.
otherwise.
Bartman loves to take those pictures, so I always make sure I'm wearing my shirt. So I remember my first event I helped out. I was running over from work, so I was still in my business attire and all the other moms were in their mom shirts, and I was like, oh, let me just step out of the picture. But nope, she wouldn't have it. She wants you in it.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
She's great. We just adore her.
That's great. Yep, she's doing a wonderful job there at Walter J. Baird. You and I have never talked about this, but I was the principal back in the day at Walter J. Not sure if you knew that or not, but yeah.
So, and when you mentioned getting a new roof, so that's an older school that I know because my husband actually went to Walter J. And that's just so funny to me because I don't know why. But when I first went in there, everybody knew their way around, and it dawned on me that they all went there when I was like, thinking I was in a brand new place because I just have never been there before.
Yeah, and I mentioned upgrades, and we as a district do a really good job, I think, of updating and maintaining our facilities. And Walter J. was built in about 76, 77 when it opened. And my wife went to school there as well. I actually played basketball against Walter J. In that gym there. And so, so that's sort of neat,
But
too.
when you walk in, you're not saying, oh, this is such a dated area. You know, you can see the upgrades and you feel comfortable. You don't feel like, oh, my kid's in this old school. You don't get that vibe at all.
Yeah,
so that's
you
great.
don't get that in any of our schools, I don't think.
No, and we've had a positive experience. My daughter's in 7th grade now, so she really enjoyed 6th grade and she's done well. And then, of course, both of them went through Sam Houston, which was a delight. We loved it. So we've had a real great experience.
Outstanding. Yeah, we like to hear that and hear that often because we have wonderful people doing great work across the board in our district. And then that starts with our school board and our principals and our central office leadership and our teachers every single day doing an outstanding job in the classroom and doing wonderful things for children. And we're so proud of their work and they work hard. And it's hard being a teacher today, Sarah. I tell you, we expect so much out of our teachers as a society and put so much on them. And that's why fall break's so important. And I know our teachers, a lot of them travel, a lot of them stay in town, and people like you have visiting family. But even if you just don't have to handle the stress of the day-to-day of teaching, because the teaching is such a important profession and it's so difficult. But miracles, literally miracles, happen every day in our classrooms across the district. We're so proud of their work. So shout out to the employees and especially the teachers of the Lebanon Special School District for you seem to be a happy parent and a very supportive parent, and so we love hearing those stories because we sometimes every now and then we hear just the opposite of that. We have some things we need to work on.
I'm sure, but no, it's great. And as someone who sells this community every day, I really do believe this in my heart. What makes the difference in Lebanon, Tennessee, and in Wilson County is the people. The people is what brings this community together, and you can see it all across the county.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah, that's right.
That's great.
Yep.
Well, we're just about out of time. We have about 30 seconds left. If you want to go ahead and give a quick shout out or anything else you want to add.
Hey, with 30 seconds, we'll say we wish everyone in the Lebanon Special School District a happy last few days of the fall break here, and we're going to look forward to welcoming everybody back next Monday. Hey, and we're going to get right back to work and get busy, so to speak, on Monday, because the time between fall break and Christmas is a valuable teaching time. So we're going to get right back to it. So
great. Well, thank you, Scott Benson with Lebanon Special School District. And this is Sarah Haston filling in for Coleman Walker. Thanks for being with us today.